Okay, hello everyone. I think we're live. We're just going live about 5 minutes early so that we can make sure all the tech is good to go. But how's everyone doing? Please let us know where you're from in the chat. I'm in Palm Beach County myself, and I would love to see where you guys are from. Okay, I see Virginia, New York. Nice, another Palm Beach County from P. Mosen. Great to see. See New Jersey, West Hollywood, Portland, Oregon. Great. We have a great senator over there. Tallahassee, Orlando, the Villages. I was seeing the Villages really turn out for Harris, so that's great. Jacksonville, Boston, nice. Miami Gardens, wow. Chicago, San Diego. Oh my God, people are coming in from everywhere. See, my dad is in the chat. Nice. Jordy's from Tampa. Nice. Okay, let me know how you guys are feeling. We're feeling really good about these elections. I don't know if you all have heard, but the White House pulled Elise Stefanik's nomination away because they feel so scared that we're doing so well here and they feel threatened by us. So pretty good sign that we're going to win these seats and take back the House. So we all feel pretty great. We do also have a QR code in the top right of the screen that you can scan, and it will take you to the volunteer hub to sign up for phone banking and door knocking. And it'll also take you to the donation page where you can obviously donate and help support these two incredible candidates. Also, for Get Out the Vote events this weekend. As you guys know, this weekend is the last 4 days until the election, which is on April 1st. So, yeah, this is really important. This is the final stretch for us. Just wait a couple more minutes to start. And also, Jo is on her way, rest assured. But she is streaming to her socials. If you haven't already, please put in the chat where you're from. We all want to see the connectivity across the nation and coming together to support these candidates. So let us know where you're from in the chat. It's one of the best parts about doing these calls. And just while we're waiting, we have a really it's like an all-star team of Democratic leaders. We have Congressman Maxwell from Florida. We have Congressman Jamie Raskin, Senator Whitehouse. We have the DNC Chair Ken Martin, the Florida Democratic Chair Nikki Fried. My God, we have so many more. So many influencers that you'll see, and of course we have Gay and Josh themselves here to talk about the incredible work that they're doing in their elections, and you know what Florida Democrats are planning to stop Trump, which really these elections are the most important things that we can all be doing right now. So let me see where you guys are from. See Boulder, Colorado, nice. Jacksonville, Maine, Lynchburg, Miami, Buffalo, Cali, nice. Tucson, wonderful. And we'll be starting in a couple more minutes. Okay. Yeah, so looks like we're going to be starting here any second. All right. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get started right on the dot. My name is Sam Schwartz. I'm so happy to be hosting this incredible event full of Democratic leaders, activists, influencers, and these candidates who are running in this incredible special election to take back the House. I'm just going to jump straight into it because we have a full list. So as you all know, right now we're having this call tonight for a very serious reason. Right now we're living in a truly unprecedented and dangerous time in American history. Literally never before have we had a president and his acolytes who just so egregiously ignore the Constitution, throw away and are willing to throw away our entire system of checks and balances, and that's what's going on right now. And when the president of the United States, when Donald Trump calls for the impeachment of judges who disagree with him, when he calls himself a king on social media and posts himself on Truth Social wearing a crown, when the Republican conference in the White House let literally the richest man in the world recklessly fire tens of thousands of civil servants, of government employees, when they're literally kidnapping students off of the streets for simply voicing their opinions. That's as clear of a time to know that it's time to fight back. So we really cannot wait. This is the time to get motivated. And for all of those reasons and so many more that there's just no way we could even list, that we're having this call so that you can actually hear from the candidates who have a plan to stop Trump in his tracks, who are running in incredibly important special elections that, if we win, will quite literally flip the House blue. Again, stop Donald Trump, stop his fascist Project 2025 agenda, and his authoritarian administration. That all happens by flipping these two seats in Florida blue. So it's that simple. And just a few hours ago, I'm sure many of you saw that Trump and Republicans pulled Elise Stefanik's nomination because they know we're going to win here, and we have them scared. We have them nervous about a deep, bright red plus 20 or plus 30 Republican district. I mean, that's how scared they are. Yeah, that's the importance of winning these seats. So throughout this call, again, we're going to be putting the link to sign up. We're going to phone bank, to door knock. We're going to be putting that on screen at the banner at the bottom, and then the QR code on the top right. That's going to be put in the chat as well, so that you can channel your anger, your frustration with what's happening right now, and everything going on into making a difference, into, again, signing up to phone bank and the volunteer hub, signing up for our Get Out the Vote events that we have all this weekend. So with that, I want to get right into it. It is my honor to introduce a true leader of this moment, Congressman Jamie Raskin. Congressman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so delighted to be with the great people of Florida. The eyes, not just of the country, but of the world, are on Florida right now. I have sent $2,000 each to our amazing candidates down there, and I cannot wait to welcome them to the U.S. House of Representatives. This is the special election that will rock the country and send the message to the rest of the world that America is not going down the road of authoritarianism and monarchy and Elon Musk's techno state. You know that Musk and Peter Thiel and their intellectual guru, Curtis Yarvin, believe that democracy is defunct in America. They think that we're living in what they call a post-constitutional time. And they basically, their vision of government was prefigured by the stage at Trump's inaugural, where you had Trump, who's a billionaire of some kind, standing in front of the three richest people on Earth, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos, and behind them was a cabinet of billionaires. So they believe in government of the top 1,000th of 1% of Americans against everybody else. They're busy dismantling Medicaid, Social Security, tearing apart our federal agencies, the Agency for International Development, the NIH, the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, you name it. They are trying to gut the government of the United States, and they're in full-blown league right now with Vladimir Putin and Viktor Orban and Kim Jong-un and all of the autocrats, the theocrats, the plutocrats, the oligarchs of the world. So the moment could not be more important. The great news, as you were saying, Sam, is people all over the country are waking up. and realizing that everything that prior generations of Americans have fought for is in danger right now, and our government, our democracy are under siege. So I will do whatever I can to help the candidates down there. Thank you for fighting hard. Thank you for organizing us from across the country. We are winning in Pittsburgh, where we just took a state Senate seat in an R+15 district. Elise Stefanik, as you were saying, they've pulled her nomination for ambassador. Thoughts and prayers on that. And they've done it because they know that we're going to win that seat too, because the Democrats are on fire and we are the party of democracy. And I'll close with this. Sometimes they'll say, like, I had a colleague from South Carolina, Trey Gowdy, left Congress, and I went to his goodbye thing. He said, Raskin, you're not a bad guy. He said, the problem with you is you're a liberal. I said, you're damn right I'm a liberal. The heart of that word is liberty. I'm a progressive because the heart of that word is progress. But my favorite thing to call myself today is a conservative, because we're going to conserve the land, the air, the water, the climate system, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, the National Labor Relations Act, the Fair Labor Standards Act, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, the Affordable Care Act. Everything that party of nihilists and authoritarians wants to tear down is everything that we're going to conserve and preserve in America. So thank you, Florida, for leading the way. And I can't wait to get down there with my buddy Maxwell Frost in just a week or two. See you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Congressman. Thank you for your wisdom and your leadership during this moment. I know that all of us watching and around the country are really, really thankful that we have you in the Congress right now. Without any delay, I want to introduce our next Democratic superstar on here, another person who's been defending our country from all of these undemocratic attacks that we've been seeing from Trump's authoritarian regime. Really, there's no other way to say it. Congressman Maxwell Frost, we're so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah, of course. So good to be here, Sam. Thank you so much. And hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to come together to ensure that we win these special elections here in the state of Florida, which are the elections to be paying attention to right now. And it's so good to follow my good friend Jamie Raskin, who's going to be down here in Florida in just a few weeks to help us launch Democracy Summer in Florida and help us launch our year-round organizing. Look, y'all, we barely have time till Election Day. We have two amazing candidates. I encourage you to read about their stories, learn about their backgrounds, from gun violence to being a teacher to understanding the issues in front of us. Both of our candidates here in Florida are not just ready to go to Congress, but they're ready to bring the lived experiences of working people to Congress. And that is the most important thing. It's not just about a candidate. It's about the right people who understand the stakes of what we're in right now. And we know that we're witnessing this billionaire takeover of our government, where they want to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and they want to cut food stamps to give billionaires a tax cuts, to give corporations a tax cut, and to take away accountability. That's the kind of change that Donald Trump has been talking about and what they're fighting for. Just look at this latest Republican spending bill that we voted on. The margin in the House of Representatives is so close. But here's the thing. If you don't believe that it's important to get involved in these races, okay, Donald Trump believes that it's important to get involved in this race, because tonight, out of nowhere, Donald Trump has decided to come in and do a teletown, rally or something for Randy Fine in one of these races, which means that they're looking at the numbers. They're looking at the energy that Democrats have across the country. And guess what? They're getting scared. We have to ensure that we get every Democrat to go out and vote in both of these races. Every single person, every Democrat, every independent who's fed up with this unelected billionaire who makes $8 million a day from our government, deciding what a single mother is going to do or get if they get $7 a day for nutritional assistance. It's disgusting. When Donald Trump said that this would be the golden age, he was right. It's the golden age for billionaires and corporations, and the dark ages for the rest of us. But we're going to fight back and we're going to win. We don't have time to wait till midterms 2 years from now. We have to use every tool in our toolbox in Congress to fight back, to obstruct, to delay, to obstruct this horrible agenda, to fight back in the streets with the people and to take advantage of every election we have in front of us. And whether it's the Wisconsin Supreme Court race or these 2 congressional races, we got to hone in here. Florida is worth fighting for. That's why I'm so proud to represent my home, where I was born and raised, Orlando, Florida. This is worth fighting for, and the South has something to say. So get involved, donate your money, but also donate your time, y'all. We need you to call these voters in these districts and tell them, get off your ass and get to the polls so we can defend Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, nutritional assistance, fight the climate crisis, and ensure that we end gun violence in this country. That's what this is about. And I always think about these very powerful words, Angela Davis. I'm no longer accepting what I cannot change, but I am changing what I cannot accept. And in the next week, we have the opportunity to do a lot of change here. So God bless y'all. Thank you so much for being here. Get on the phones, get on the doors, and let's make it happen. I'll toss it back to you, Sam. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really couldn't have said it better myself, about really the urgency of this election and actually getting every single person you know out to vote. I've had friends who are apolitical who didn't vote in the 2024 election text me and be like, what the hell is Elon Musk doing? Why is he in the Oval Office with his kid? Why is he wearing a MAGA hat in the Oval Office? Why is there a Tesla dealership show going on in the Oval Office or outside? And get those people, send them this QR code that's in the top right here. That QR code is the volunteer hub where you can go sign up to volunteer to phone bank for Gay and Josh, which, as Rep. Frost was saying, these actions are one of the most important things you can do, not only in channeling your anger and your frustration with this administration, but just getting involved and really feeling like you're making a difference. So yeah, thank you so much again for being here. I now want to move on to, we have another really, really great special guest here, Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island. Senator, thank you so much for being here. And again, thanks for your leadership right now.
Thank you, Sam. It's terrific to be with you, and I'm eager to do whatever I can to help you guys win these 2 special elections. I think, when you're looking at Florida, there are a lot of people in Florida who are on Social Security. And the idea that these little muskrats have gotten into Social Security and are messing around with the data systems. The simple way to explain this is Republicans have never liked Social Security, but Americans love Social Security, so they have to lie and say that they're not going to touch Social Security. But then they say that Social Security is riddled with fraud. Well, that's false. Social Security is not riddled with fraud. So why are they saying that? They're saying that it's a Ponzi scheme. That's false too. So why are they saying that? They've got a cabinet member who is saying that an interruption of Social Security benefits is actually a good thing because it will smoke out the fraud when people complain, which is nuts. But why would they be saying that? They're saying all these things because they want to discredit Social Security. And at the same time, they send in these muskrats, tech bros, private equity people, and they're doing their very best to actually wreck Social Security, disrupt its operations, create that interruption of benefits that then allows Trump to come rushing back in with Musk and say, oh, look, just like we told you, Social Security failed, and we're going to fix it with our tech bros and with our private equity folks. And the great Republican goal to break Social Security and privatize it gets achieved. So there's a really strong message that's available there for seniors in Florida. And here's another one. If you run into somebody who's not sure how they're going to vote, ask them how their property insurance looks. Ask them about their homeowner's insurance, because Florida is in a full-blown homeowners insurance crisis. It's got the highest rates in the country. It's got a phony baloney backstop state-backed insurance entity. It's got a dozen small insurance companies that have gone bust. It's got the big ones who've left, and prices are through the roof and going no place but up. So people are wildly dissatisfied with that. And there's a reason for all of that happening. The reason for all of that happening is that Republicans in Florida have signed on with the fossil fuel industry, and they're taking their money. Florida does not produce a lot of oil. Florida does not produce a lot of natural gas. This is out-of-state money coming into Florida, taking over the Republican Party, and turning it into a climate denial operation that is causing this effect. Property insurance is going through the roof because climate risk is now so unpredictable in Florida as the Gulf turns into a cauldron for hurricanes and the Keys turn into jacuzzi-style temperatures and Sarasota stinks from the red tide. All of this is part of the fossil fuel industry's corruption of Republican politics in Rhode Island, so in Florida. So if people are worried about their property insurance, and I have yet to meet a Floridian who is not pissed off about their homeowner's insurance. When you meet those people, let them know if you want to fix the homeowner's insurance nightmare in Florida, you got to throw the bums out. There's no other way. Throw the bums out. They're bought and paid for by the fossil fuel industry. So what you guys are going to be doing in the next couple of days as we close in on the election is going to be so important. You know, feet on the ground, knocking on the doors, making sure that people are hearing from us and knowing that they don't have to put up with what they see in Washington. Because I'll tell you, there are an awful lot of people who voted for Trump in Florida who are now really concerned about what they voted for, because this is not what they voted for. So thanks for letting me on for a bit to encourage you. I'm really, really excited about the potential for Florida. And don't forget, the muskrats breaking Social Security and the political establishment in Florida wrecking your homeowner's insurance are things that can get through to people, because it really goes to the core economic basis for a good life in Florida. So thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much, Senator, for being here. Really appreciate it. You know, like what the senator was saying, they're coming for Social Security, whether they want to admit it or not. Elon Musk actually is admitting it. He's going on, I think, Fox News and saying that they're coming for entitlements, which is Social Security. So do not be deceived. They are absolutely coming for your benefits. I now want to move on to a very, very special guest, our newly elected chair of the DNC, our very own Ken Martin. Thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you.
Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for having me. I'm here right now in Florida, and over the coming days, I'm going to help Democrats organize for Gay Valimont and Josh Weil ahead of Tuesday. So look, I was elected to this job in February, and ever since have been on the road almost nonstop, listening to voters in more than a dozen states, getting out the vote for local races and rebuilding the grassroots of our party. It's part of my philosophy to get the DNC out of DC and back into the states. And these special elections give us a critical opportunity to strengthen Florida's Democratic Party and gain momentum in the state. Look, Republicans might be in power, but right now they're running scared. Here's something I've learned throughout my career in politics. Little moments have a tendency to cause big change. And this week sure feels like one of those moments. I'm sure all of your viewers saw what happened in Pennsylvania the other night, where a Democrat won in a district that Trump won handedly last year, actually a plus 15% Trump district. But it's a district that hasn't gone for us since the 1800s. And now you have Trump withdrawing Elise Stefanik's nomination for UN ambassador because with the majority, razor-thin House majority, he's terrified of her seat flipping blue. And of course, Elon Musk is pouring more and more money into Wisconsin to try to take over their Supreme Court. I'm talking tens of millions of dollars. He's even having his PAC cut $1 million checks directly to voters. You know, he's already bought the federal government, and now he's trying to buy state and local governments as well. We can't let them do this. So, you know, what this all says to me is that we have these guys on the run. Ever since being elected DNC chair, I've tried to squeeze the most out of every single day, because every day gives us a fresh chance to gain ground. You know, as my mentor and first boss, Paul Wellstone, used to say, and something I repeat every morning, is that we can remake the world daily. It's an affirmation to me that we have the opportunity to make substantial change in our communities, in our states, and in this country. That's what all of us, whether you're an organizer, an influencer, or an elected official, get to do here in Florida. We get to remake Florida daily. Folks, look, Democrats are gaining momentum, and momentum, funny enough, is contagious. I know Florida Democrats won't sit by and let Republicans walk into office unopposed, regardless of what happens. And I think we have an amazing opportunity to win both of those seats. Democrats have used these special elections as an opportunity to register voters, to re-enroll people and vote by mail, and spread the Democratic message throughout the state. But I'm going to do my part to spark an upset, and I know all of you are too. I'm going to be on the ground canvassing throughout this weekend. I hope everyone listening rolls up your sleeves. Do whatever you can. Volunteer virtually. If you're here in Florida, get out here and actually knock on doors and help us turn out the vote. Every single voter matters at this point. And I will tell you, I've seen crazy things happen. This week is an example of it, right? I have seen in low turnout special elections, we have lost elections we were supposed to win, and we have won elections we were supposed to lose. So we're seeing Democrats that are highly energized right now, independent voters who are so pissed off with Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and J.D. Vance that they're swinging our way in huge numbers. And we've seen Republican voters actually cross over and support Democrats as well. So let's go out there. Let's fight hard for every single vote. We're going to win in Florida. Thanks for having me on today.
Thank you so much for being here. I think you can see by this pretty incredible lineup that the entire range of the Democratic Party is here supporting Gay and Josh, because we all know how important flipping these two seats are. And it's absolutely possible, like you said. We just saw that deep red Pennsylvania seat flip blue, giving us control of the Pennsylvania legislature. So you can see that everyone's out and fighting for Gay and Josh, and you can too. By taking your phone and just scanning that QR code in the top right, that's going to take you to our volunteer hub, where you can sign up to phone bank, to door knock, to volunteer for Gay and Josh. If everyone on this call spent 30 minutes or an hour from now until April 1st, which is the election day, doing what they can, telling a friend to volunteer, we will absolutely turn out the voters we need, and we will win these seats. And we take back the House. And there's nothing better than that, and allowing us to stop Donald Trump. So thank you so much, Ken, for being here, and thank you for all the great work that you're doing. And yeah, we love what you're doing. I now have the great honor of introducing the chair of the Florida Democratic Party, Nikki Fried. We all know and love her, and she's doing an incredible job. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks so much, Sam. This is, I think, our second or third of our national call. So certainly appreciate you coming in and filling this space. And to all of the electeds that were able to be on tonight, we know how much work that they are doing in Washington, D.C. And so taking that time out of their busy schedules, fighting for democracy, to be on tonight just shows how important these races are. These aren't just two special elections. I mean, you know this, you're living through this. These aren't just two special elections because we want to flip seats. This is how we draw the line to make sure that we are fighting for democracy, that we're fighting for our seniors, that we're fighting for our vets, we're fighting for our working class, we're fighting for decency, our national security, rule of law, like all of it lies on all of us. And so the other thank you that I have is to you all. The amount of outpouring of support that we have received from Democrats, Republicans, independents, from not only across the Florida, but across the entire country, and all of you that are here today. This is how we live in this moment, by stepping up, fighting back, and making sure that we are seen by everybody that who we are as Democrats. We fight for the people. We make sure that people understand in these moments that the Democrats are going to have their back. That whether it is cuts to their Social Security, or whether it is, not knowing if you're going to have a job, or what is going to be happening and across the country, this is what we do to fight every single day. So let me also level set where we are in this race. First of all, we have two incredible candidates who have put everything on the line to run in these elections, to make sure that they are message focused, that they're talking to all parts of those districts, whether they are red, rural, blue, or everything in between, because that is how we're building back this party, because the things that we talk about are not partisan. These are American values that we all should be sharing as Americans. And so Gay and Josh understand the mission at hand and feel so much wraparound support from everybody across the country. So the races are, in fact, very neck and neck. And in vote by mail returns, and we are watching and are on there every day. Florida Dems are chasing every last vote to make sure that they're returned before Election Day. There is just 2% separates Democrats from Republicans in vote by mail returns in CD6. which means that we got to get these ballots back in, which means that's where we need your help. Republicans, as you have probably been watching the news for the last couple of days, they're quite nervous. They're nervous that we have, excuse me, outraised, outworked, outmaneuvered the Republicans that, first of all, neither Jimmy nor Randy live in the districts, haven't campaigned in the districts, are solely relying on the fact that there are more Republicans in those districts than there are Democrats. That is it. And so in the last 48 hours, you've seen everything from Steve Bannon to the White House to Ron DeSantis that are nervous about these races. So much so that Trump, I think probably at the same time that we're talking tonight, has called into CD1 and CD6 as well as Wisconsin because they're feeling the pressure of this moment that their support is just completely crumbling across the country, rightfully so. Their policies are not what the American people voted for. This is not the disruption that they wanted. This is complete destruction of our institutions, our national security, our quality way of life. And so people are getting very frustrated at the attacks on our veterans, attacks on our Social Security and our citizens. And so much so that you also probably saw that Trump had pulled back Elise Stefanik's nomination to the UN because they don't want another special election. And that is the work that gets done every day. That when we fight, we do win. And sometimes you don't see all the pieces on the chessboard, but we made them move their queen today. And that should show to the rest of the country that when we organize, when we stay on message, that when we talk to the voters in all parts of our country and our states, that we are able to win these elections. We have knocked on collectively 750,000 doors, 1.4 million phone calls to so many of you to thank you to that, 350,000 text messages. But as we know, there is still so much more work to be done. And I think I'm going to say this hot off the presses, if it's already not been discussed tonight, there's a new poll in Congressional District 6. This poll was conducted by Tony Fabrizio, who is the Trump pollster. So this is a deep Republican pollster. New poll. Josh Weil, 44%. Randy Fine, 41%. That means in the polls, we're up 3%. But as we all know, polls mean nothing if we don't turn out our voters. So this is in our grasps in CD1 and in CD6, as long as we close out strong. And so, of course, thank you to, to Ken Martin, who was just on. We are actually here together with some other DNC leadership across the country. And thank you for your investment into our state, into these campaigns. Your support certainly has helped us hire organizers and ensure that we have a robust voter protection program that's on the ground. And so this weekend, both myself and Chair Martin will be in Congressional District 6. And so with that, with no further ado, I want to make sure that you are hearing from one of our great candidates, our next Congressman from CD6.
Okay, what Nikki was saying was our next Congressman from CD6, Josh Weil. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, okay. Actually, I think we're going to go to Gay Valimont, who's in CD1, running an incredible campaign. And just to pick on what Nikki was saying, the Republicans are taking these seats for granted right now, and you can help us pull off the greatest sneak attack in history and flip these seats blue. And there's no one better to do it for than Gay Valimont herself, who is here, who has been running for 19 months.
19 months.
Yeah, why don't you tell us more about your incredible story and why you're running?
Yeah, thanks, Sam. It sounds like doomsday in CD1, but it's absolutely not. We are gaining support every day. Recent polls show that we are getting 23% of Republicans right now. So we're excited about that. And Donald Trump called me a horrible person gun grabber today. So that was good. Finally getting noticed. Anyway, so yeah, I've been doing this for 19 months. And I started my journey in politics as a gun violence prevention activist with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. And through that process and burning the road between here and Tallahassee to talk to legislators and testify against bad gun bills, I learned how the legislature works and how our vote matters. And so as I was working with Moms Demand Action and being a full-time volunteer, I suffered some tragedy. My husband, my 44-year-old husband, was diagnosed with ALS. And as we were trying to figure that out, my 8-year-old son fell down at school and couldn't regain his balance. And 10 hours later, he was life-flighted and diagnosed with a terminal brain tumor. I took care of both of them. I was their full-time caregiver until both of them took their last breath. My son, Eli, has been gone 3 years, and my husband, Brian, has been gone or will have been gone 3 years in April. So I tell you that because I can't tell you who I am if I don't tell you about my family. But I also want to point out that there are a lot of people in this country struggling with grief. We just got over a pandemic that everybody wants to ignore that ever happened, and we lost millions of people. So that, and paired with gun violence prevention, I see a lot of mothers who've lost their children who all lifted me up and said, you can do this. Now, Matt Gaetz filed a federal stand your ground bill, and it put a fire in my belly that said, you have to do this. So I entered. I ran for Congress in the first election, and 8 days later, Matt Gaetz resigned. And so we barely turned the lights off in the campaign office, and we were off again. This time around, we have had a ton of support. We've also had all the volunteers that still believe in me come out of the woodwork. But what we're facing right now are cuts to the 20,000 federal employees that we have in our district, to the 130,000 veterans that live in our district, 36,000 of which get served at our VA clinic. That is at 140% capacity today. So we can't afford to lose one job at the VA, much less 83,000 jobs. We see people in our door every day concerned about their jobs. I cannot wait to get to Washington to make sure that I'm speaking up for these people, because there are a lot of people here who regret their vote. There are a lot of people here who didn't believe Project 2025 was an actual thing, but now they know all they have to do is turn the page and see the next thing that's going to happen. Jimmy Petronas is my opponent. He is the CFO of Florida. He is the sole reason we all pay outrageous insurance prices. And the Republicans brought him in to buy a seat here in Florida's first. Now, I have an awesome team. I am a stellar candidate, and we are kicking ass here. We have, I can't count today anymore, so 4 days to make this happen. We are excited. We have boots on the ground, and we're going to win this thing and shock the world. So thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you so much, Gay. I want you to know that you're doing a great job. I know you're doing a great job. All of us watching are behind you, everyone from around the country, and I just cannot wait to see you in DC fighting just as hard as you are right now for the people of your district, for people all across the country who are being hurt by this out of control, zero guardrails administration that desperately needs someone like you in Congress to lay down the law on these people, because clearly they can't do it by themselves. So thank you so much for being here. For those of you watching, I know that you were as moved as I am hearing Gay's story and why she's running. Please take your phone out right now and scan the QR code in the top right of this webinar. That'll take you to our volunteer hub. We've been talking about it a lot because it's very important. This is how we're going to win this election. We can't just be on the call right now and expect that that's enough. We have to phone bank for Gay. We have to phone bank for Josh. That's how we're going to get the voters out, turn Democrats in both these districts out to win this election and pull off this sneak attack that we really absolutely can do. We have Republicans shaking in their boots, as you said.
Right.
Elise Stefanik is now out of a job in the UN, and now she's, I don't know, going to go back to, I don't know what she's going to do, but I know what you're going to be in Congress. So anyway, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Really an honor to hear from you. I now have another great honor of introducing our other candidate that we're here supporting, our very own Josh Weil, the next congressman from Florida's 6th Congressional District. Josh, thank you so very much for being here. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. We're going to go to Robert Hubbell, actually, who is he runs a very, very popular Substack called Today's Edition, and I'm sure many of you are here because of him. Robert, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Sam. Thank you. It's my honor to be here. I want to say hello to any of my subscribers who are here today, and also to all of you who've shown up at this incredible moment in our nation's history. I have to start by saying something to both Josh and Gay, which is thank you. You have stepped up. You have filled the breach. You have answered the call at a time of incredible consequence in our democracy. And politics is a contact sport at this point in time. You can run for Congress, as Gay has done, and have a bully attack you with lies on a daily basis. So you have my respect and my admiration. We owe all of you a debt. All of us owe you a debt of gratitude for what you are doing. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to take a little bit different tack on this call, because I'm hopeful that you will tell your children and grandchildren, I was there. I was there at the moment we reached the tipping point. I was there when we finally gained purchase, when we finally tipped the odds in our favor, because we had two great candidates for Congress, and against all odds, we took those seats. Now, to be clear, we have already won. Chasing Elise Stefanik back to her district is a victory. Forcing Republicans to engage in these races in a way that they felt they could just ignore and rest on their laurels is another victory. But if we can win these seats, and I absolutely believe we can, you should go back and you should tell your children and grandchildren, I was there. I was there at the moment that the balance tipped, because that's where we are. The momentum is gaining. And if you can, however you can help, Gay and Josh, help. Make calls, write postcards, donate, tell friends. Whatever you can do is meaningful at this point. Now, I want to both respect the speaker's time. So, Sam, you give me a high sign when I should cut off. But I want to reflect on how we got here to this moment where this is one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. And then I want to address the question of where do we go from here? How do we proceed? And those questions, how did we get here and how do we proceed, arise in a moment where it all feels like we are losing our minds because we are being gaslit with lies and absurd logic on a daily basis. So the answer to both of those questions is very simple, and it's not something that gets said enough. We are here at this moment because the people on this call did not give up. They didn't give up after 2016. We helped reclaim and save democracy in 2018 and 2020 and 2021 and 22 and 23, and we're doing it now in 2025. And all we have to do is not give up. We just have to abide and endure and persist despite all of the insanity that's going on around us. I'm certain that Josh and Gay get up and look at themselves in the mirror and say, can I do it? Can I try for another day? And God bless them. The answer every day is yes. And that's got to be the same answer for you. Whatever you feel, wherever you are, whatever anxiety, whatever fears, whatever you're feeling, just don't give up. If you do not give up, we will outlast them. We will be here in 2028, and the GOP will be the smoldering remains of a once honorable party. Just don't give up. But,
Yeah. Well, oh, sorry. Do you have one more thing to say?
go ahead. If you're giving me the high sign, let me just, I'll
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Sure.
So don't give up. But most importantly, if we do more than not give up, we will help redeem democracy more quickly, more surely than simply abiding and persisting. So don't give up, but engage. Use this as an opportunity, this election, to seize the day, to volunteer. God bless you who are already doing it. But if you aren't, make this your cause. Make this the election where you made a stand, where you can turn and say to your children and grandchildren, I was there when the tide turned, and I was part of the tide. And Josh and Gay led us in that fight. God bless them. Let's go out and win.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you so much for being here, Robert, and bringing your incredibly engaged audience who really deserves a commendment themselves, and you do as well for being here. So thank you sincerely from the bottom of all of our hearts. We now have the really great honor of introducing the man of the hour. Third time's the charm. He's already had 2 introductions to this call, so he's really special. So the next congressman from Florida's congressional district, Josh Weil. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Sam. We are on the road because District 6 is a big old district, and we are in between events right now. But I had to be here to give everyone an update and let y'all know how this race is going. You know, I'm a public school teacher. I've worked in Title I schools for the last 13 years. And, you know, public school teachers, we don't pick and choose which kids we serve. We serve every child, every family, every day. And, you know, that's exactly what we should expect out of our elected representatives in Congress. You know, meanwhile, I'm running against an opponent who's running around telling everyone that he is only here to serve Donald Trump. And I'm not sure he understands which job he's running for here, because Mike Waltz, who used to have this job, left it so he could take one to serve Donald Trump. Being the representative from District 6 is about serving the people here. All of the people, no matter what their party is, no matter if they voted for you or not, you are their guy in Congress. And so we have been out all across this big old district, from Daytona up to St. Augustine, all the way out to Ocala, for the last 4 months. And we have heard some things. We have learned a lot about the people here in District 6. You know, listening to Senator Whitehouse earlier, one of the things that I would say is Republicans in Florida, I mean, look, we all know everyone in Florida is a different breed. But Republicans in Florida are a different breed. You know, typically you expect your Republicans to tell you that they, you know, stand up for states' rights and that they want less government from Washington. And we've got Republicans here telling us that we need federal regulation for housing, because what's happening in Florida doesn't cut it. They can't afford to live in Florida. They're telling us that we need federal regulation for homeowners insurance, because the way Florida has handled it is unacceptable. You know, they're asking us to protect Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare, systems they rely on. They are asking us to protect and to expand the services for our veterans, because our veterans deserve the care. They have earned this. And to take it back, to fire thousands of doctors and nurses so these veterans are having their doctor's appointments, their scheduled procedures put back 4 to 6 months, is disgusting. They can't stand what they're seeing. They want better, and they want it from Washington. And it's how we got to this amazing place we are in this campaign today, where, you know, external polling is showing us winning this by 3 points. Polls released by the Republican Party today from Washington. You know, when we saw Donald Trump rescind the appointment for Elise Stefanik today, right? That's game over from them, right? Because if you were scared that you might lose this seat in District 6 or the seat in District 1, you would call Representative Stefanik on the phone and you'd be like, hey, Wednesday, we might have to have a talk. But if you think it's already done, if you think you've lost that seat and it's over, then you call it the Thursday before. And that's exactly what we saw today. The support on the ground here has been amazing. In Volusia County, more Democrats have voted than Republicans, even though Republicans outnumber them 2-1. It's the first time that has happened in 30 years. Right? What we're seeing here is unbelievable, and we take none of it for granted. We have 5 days left till Election Day, and we need every last person who can. If you're here in Florida, come out, knock on doors with us. If you're anywhere else in the country, please jump on a phone bank, take 2 hours, make phone calls. We need to contact every last Democrat in this district who hasn't voted, and we need to make sure we get them out to the polls, because it is going to take every last vote to hold on to this lead. But we know what we're seeing on the ground. We know the response from this community. And on Tuesday, we're about to make history and flip the largest, R plus 32 will be the largest swing in the history of this country. And these people deserve it. They deserve a representative who will serve them in Congress. And it is my honor that they're choosing me. So please, anything you can do over these next 5 days, pitch in and help us get to the finish line, because we're making history here in Florida and we can't do it without you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, Josh. And thank you for the incredible work that you and your team are doing to flip this seat blue. And like you said, have the largest swing in the history of our country. And we can absolutely do it because, like you said, they're taking the seat for granted. They're not putting in the work. They think that they have it in the bag. And the reality is they don't. And what's made abundantly clear to us is that every single election that Democrats have had since the 2024 election, we've overperformed by a huge margin. So I'm not saying that you don't have to go out and vote. We definitely, it's not safe for us either, right? It's going to be a very close election because we're putting in the work. So while I'm talking about putting in the work, I want you, all of you watching this, to look at the chat right now. There's the Florida Democratic Party code, which is a link tree that you can just click if you're having trouble with the QR code. That'll take you to our volunteer hub where you can donate to Josh and Gay, and you can sign up to phone bank and door knock and volunteer from now until April 1st. If everybody on this call themselves or bringing a friend or even 2 friends put in 30 minutes or an hour from now until April 1st, we would win and we would take back the House. So really just thank you all for being here and doing so. I now have the great honor of introducing just one of my favorite people to listen to on social media, to read her newsletter, Jessica Craven, who I'm sure you all know. Thank you so much for being here, Jessica. It's great to see you.
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. Hi, Sam. Hi, everyone. This has been an absolutely inspiring. I've just been sitting here cheering. It's so great to hear from everybody. Thank you all who are watching, all of you who are paying attention to these races. Sam, it's been so fun working with you on this, and it was so great to get to hear from Gay and Josh today. So I think you've heard a lot from everybody who's spoken so far. I don't need to, keep repeating things that have been said, but some things are really worth repeating because they're really fun. You guys, on Tuesday, we flipped a seat in a Republican district, a Trump plus 15 seat. Very exciting stuff. And in South Carolina, on that same day, little known fact, we also flipped it was a much more down ballot race, but it was once again, Democratic flipped a Trump heavily red district. And of course, we know that about a month ago, we did the same thing in Iowa. We flipped a district that was plus 27, right? So something is happening here. We know that people are extremely, extremely, extremely upset, right? With what's happening. We can feel the panic, understandably so, over Social Security, over climate, over the fact that they're attacking national parks, that they're attacking, today we heard they're defunding mental health funding and addiction funding. Every day, a new outrage. And when people say, what can we do? We've been saying, well, not much until we get control of the House back, right? And that's not going to happen until 2026. But here we are in this moment where we may not be able to immediately get back control of the House by flipping these 2 seats, but we'd get so close. And Republicans, the impact of our winning 1 or both of these seats, and I would like very much to see both, I can't overstate. The impact on Republicans, the fear that will shoot through their veins when they understand that Democrats have just flipped seats in districts that For the first few months of this election, they weren't even bothering with. They were like, whatever, there's no way, right? They were phoning it in. Because, and even I, when I first heard about these elections, I was like, oh God, Matt Gaetz' seat, like that's not, but you know what? Under these circumstances, when we have a party that has gone completely rogue, completely unconstitutional, completely amoral, disappearing people off the street they disagree with, the list goes on, anything could happen. They think Americans are stupid and not paying attention. But we know that Americans, although sometimes they make choices we don't all agree with, are not stupid. They are paying attention and they're very, very upset about what's happening. I like to think of this as an opportunity to rebut in the most forceful manner imaginable what they have been doing so far. And should we pull it off, and I want you guys to use this as incentive, it will be a staggering slap in the face, metaphorical, of course, not literal. It will be a staggering rebuff of the Trump administration, of Elon Musk, of everything they have been doing so far. And if we combine that with winning in Wisconsin as well, it will be a morale boost and a lift for Democrats like we have not seen yet. So I know that it feels hard to get out of your comfort zone and sign up for a phone bank, or, you know, if you're in Florida, sign up to knock on doors. But you guys, imagine the prize. Imagine the carrot at the end of that stick is waking up on Wednesday morning and hearing that we flipped 2 seats blue that were, quote, impossible to flip, and that Republicans are rushing back to DC in a panic because they have realized they're all going to lose their seats in 2026 unless they change course. All right. So let's shoot for the moon. Let's do this. We just heard from these candidates. They're amazing. This is not hard. These are great public servants who are running against terrible MAGA Republicans who don't give a crap about the people in their districts. Let's make it happen. Let's volunteer. Let's show up. Let's give money, and let's do this. And I am so honored to be a part of this. Thank you for having me, everybody.
Yeah, Jessica, thank you so much for being here. You're one of the voices of sanity that I find within this insane moment that we're in right now. So thank you for all that you do and for shining a light on these amazing candidates, Josh and Gay, who like you and I and everyone else has been talking about. If we put in the work, if each of us reaches out to somebody that we know, a family member who has said, hey, Elon Musk is kind of insane. I don't like this. I think he's overstepping. Send the link to that person, right? Just spend 30 minutes phone banking. I think the link is in the chat. If it's not in the chat, you can scan the QR code, or you can type in Mobilize Florida Democrats on Google if none of those are working. But I want to bring on someone who really is an amazing force for change, who has firsthand experience with Matt Gaetz, who of course resigned in disgrace from Gay's district. Olivia Juliana, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm actually sitting next to our friend Josh Martin, who's over here with me. You know, as people like to say, I guess I could say I'm familiar with Matt Gaetz, which is why I know that sometimes people who are ordinary can do extraordinary things. I didn't think that when I was 19 that a congressman decided to pick on me would lead to us being able to raise $2 million for abortion funds, and yet we did it. And, you know, I feel fully confident that we can flip both of these seats. And the reason why I say that is because so often people look at the past results that we dealt with recently and think, okay, well, we're not going to be able to overcome that, thinking back to 2024. But the reality is that special elections are where Democrats really do shine. It's a truth. And the reason why Republicans are freaking out so much, especially about these 2 seats, we saw it with Elise Stefanik, but right now, you know, we have a vacant congressional district right here in Houston that is a solid Democratic district, and they won't even call the special election because they're trying so hard to find ways to cushion the House majority for Republicans because they're so close to losing it. And I think that a big part of the reason why they know that is because of the work that they've seen people put down in Florida for these 2 seats, and they know that it's possible that these 2 seats could actually flip. So as Hakeem Jeffries likes to say, be good, be brief, be gone. I'll say there is nothing too small, no phone call, no text message, no postcard written. Nothing is too small of an impact when we are fighting for everything that we believe in. We are fighting for the fabric of our country, of our Constitution. We are fighting for people who are disenfranchised and marginalized. every little thing we can do to make a difference really does. And that goes for volunteering, it goes for donating, it goes for posting on social media, sharing social media posts. Everything you can do will make a huge difference. And I think that everything we've seen so far is the reason why I feel very confident that we're going to be able to make some history. And I think that people write off the South a lot. Lord knows I know that living in Texas. But, you know, I think people here especially understand that this is a different kind of moment that we're in. This is the kind of moment that we're in where it's not just the groups that Republicans traditionally attack that are suffering. It's everyone that's suffering because this is a horrible administration. This is a horrible president, a horrible Republican Party. And I think that people are fed up. And I think this is going to be the opportunity for us to show that that's the case and flip some seats in the House and get some good things done. So thank y'all for having me. Let's go make some phone calls.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Olivia, and for all that you're doing. Really appreciate it. I sincerely believe that when people wake up, or when the country wakes up on April 2nd, the day after the election, they're going to be shocked about what Florida Democrats did in flipping these 2 seats for Gay and Josh. So like I've been saying this entire call, please click the QR code, click the link in the chat, or just simply type in Florida Democrats. Mobilize Florida Democrats on Google. Sign up for a volunteer, our volunteer hub. To phone bank and door knock. It's really the best way that you can flip these seats blue. It's not going to happen without you. Everyone needs to do their part. I now have the great honor of introducing my good friend Micah Irfan, who is a Texas-based organizer doing incredible work. Micah, I'm so excited to hear from you tonight.
Great to be with you, Sam. It's hard to end this off because there's been so many speakers, and I'm personally fired up. As Sam said, I'm from the great future blue state of Texas. Florida is the other great future blue state. I know that y'all are doing super hard work. And I'm from the same county as Olivia, Harris County, and from Congressional District 7. That's the one I represent on the Texas Democratic Party's executive committee. And Harris County used to be a red county. Every single commissioner seat was controlled by the Republicans. My congressional district used to be a red congressional district, and no one believed that we could flip this county, and nobody believed that we could flip this congressional district until we did, and we never let them back again. I generally have the belief that there are not many true Republicans in this country. What do I mean by that? Because almost every Republican I talk to doesn't know the basic facts about what's going on. They don't know all of these crazy, extreme, and unpopular decisions that Trump is making. Trump is the kind of guy who talks about free speech and people like that, and then he's one of the most oppressive authoritarians on that issue that we've ever seen in the White House. And so that's why these red states and these red districts are red mirage districts. They're districts that have been lied to, and that gives us the opportunity to tell people the truth. And it's especially important that we tell people the truth right now in these elections with all these crazy things going on. One of the positions that Sam didn't mention is that I work for the Harris County Attorney's Office, and my job is not the funnest one. My responsibility is reading every single presidential statement and executive order that comes out of this White House. I know, it's pretty dreadful. But what I can tell you is I track all these executive orders, and luckily the courts have struck almost everything he's tried to do down. Why? Because it's not constitutional. But here's the unfortunate truth. Congress, which is supposed to be a watchdog over this administration, has been a lapdog under Mike Johnson and the Republican Party. They talk big talk about the Constitution, the separation of powers, the rule of law, but when it finally comes time to have courage against a president who wants to be a dictator, they bend down, they roll over, they do everything they can to appease this man. And so the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has been threatening to defund courts that don't do what Trump wants. Now, what's the point of courts that can never stand up and be independent and strike down illegal actions? There's no point of those courts. They don't want courts. And that's why flipping these 2 seats is incredibly important. The slimmer we can make that Republican majority right now, the faster we can make it go away, the more likely we can protect the rule of law in our democracy. So next time there's a big election with all the seats on the ballot, we can wipe these guys out. So if you're not encouraged already to make sure that you phone bank and knock on doors, please do so. Please call your relatives in these districts. And I have one more final ask for you. Make sure that you're active in whatever way you possibly can to get the truth out to normal people. Like I said, most people don't know what's going on. And so you might be the only person who tells them the truth. We know from many analyses which have come out recently that on social media, people's social media feeds are constantly filled with right-wing misinformation. And that's not an accident. That is the construction of many right-wing billionaires over the past 10 years who knew that if they can control the information that people have access to, they could fundamentally change our politics. And thus far, they have. But here's the good news. We have the opportunity to change that by sharing the truth. I know you're already trying to. I urge you to do every single bit that you can. And I'm sure that we can flip these seats and we can save our country. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, you said everything. Thank you so much for that, Micah. It really is just a culture of cruelty that they're making here. As a student, it really is terrifying to me to see them straight up kidnapping students off of the street and putting them into an unmarked van and then just busing them off to Louisiana. That's not America. That's a fascist state. And that's why having people like Gay, having people like Josh in power, flipping these seats blue, that's the best mediator that we can do to prevent what's happening right now, which is authoritarianism. And we are very, very quickly descending into that sort of a country. And that's not one that you or I or anybody else here wants to be in, even Republicans. So if you're having trouble still accessing the link, please go to floridadems.org. One more time, floridadems.org. That's going to be the best way for you to sign up. Again, feel free to click the QR link. Or the QR code. Christopher Zoller just put it in the chat a couple of messages ago. Join us to phone bank on Election Day. Again, the website is floridadems.org. Help us phone bank. Help us knock doors with these elections. We need all of you watching because the Republicans currently are not treating this as something that they have to fight for. Finally, last but not least, I have the honor of introducing Joanne Carducci, better known as JoJo from Jurors. I know all of us here follow her on social media and see her just incredibly poignant topical posts. Joe, please take it from here, and thank you so much for being here.
Oh my gosh, Sam, thank you so much for hosting, for navigating this amazing call. I mean, honestly, just full disclosure, folks, note the sweatshirt. Sam was kind enough to take over the reins for me hosting because a good friend was generous enough to give myself and my kids tickets to the Yankees game today, home opener. Let's go Yankees. No offense to anybody who's, a fan of any other team. That's my team. And so I was frantically driving back to try and get to my home so that I could join this call. And I have to tell you, I have been, Sam, just completely flabbergasted by how amazing this has been, how inspiring and hopeful it has been. And I'll say this also. One thing we know, Republicans are scared, and I'm going to swear they're scared shitless, and they should be, because people are pissed, and they should be, and we cannot let up. I forget who it was that said it. We don't have to wait until the midterms. We can do this right now. They took a seat off the board, the queen off the board, as the incredible chair of the Florida Democratic Party, Nikki Fried, said. They took their queen off the board, and we did that. We did that by pushing and not stopping. We cannot quit. I think Hubbell was the one who said that. We don't quit. We can't quit. And that's another part of the energy here. But we also have amazing candidates in these two districts. Josh Weil and Gay Valimont are incredible. We have a teacher, and we have, just Gay is an absolute inspiration who understands trauma and grief, and like Sam on this call as well, she's used that to channel advocacy and fight. And our democracy is worth fighting for. I mean, like DNC Chair Ken Martin said, we can remake the world daily, and it starts today. And it starts with actions large and small. It starts by scanning a QR code. It starts by signing up to phone bank. It starts by making a donation, knocking on doors, and talking to your friends. And across the spectrum of the incredible tapestry of faces and voices we've seen tonight. I mean, that is the through line. This democracy is worth fighting for. We are worth fighting for. We cannot give up. They're scared. We cannot relent. This is an extraordinary time. We were required to take extraordinary steps and measures. And that is exactly what I have seen and heard. My kids were listening to all of this, and my children were, honest to God, well, first they heard Gay's story and they both got very upset because that's what happens, but they were really inspired as well. And that's exactly what we need right now. But thank you, Sam. Thank you to all of the incredible, both influencers, but also elected officials, to the candidates themselves, to Chair Fried, to Chair Martin. I am sorry that I wasn't here sooner, but I am so pumped up by this and I'm so freaking ready to flip these seats. We have 5 days, 5 days, friends. This last weekend, this is the big push. So I'm honestly like, I want to cry, ugly cry, because this was exactly what I needed, the shot in my veins of like, let's go. I'm not giving up. And I know nobody on this call is giving up and anytime soon. So thanks to everybody. And thanks for the patience with me driving back from New York.
Yeah, and Joe, I just want to say, I just got word that between this call and the last one we did, which was just 2 calls, we've engaged over 10,000 volunteers who are signing up to phone bank, signing up to volunteer, giving 30 minutes, an hour. Many of them have not ever phone banked before. And if that's like you, if you've never phone banked, if you find it potentially like a little intimidating, I understand. I was in that position once. We have incredible volunteers here in the Florida Democratic Party that will hold your hand, guide you through this process of how do you phone bank, how do you overcome a potentially, someone who doesn't agree with you. So we've engaged over 10,000 people so far. And if half of you watching right now sign up, we will absolutely overwhelm the Republicans in the field when it matters most. This get out the vote weekend, which is, like you said, the next 5 days, right from this second leading up to April 1st, literally every hour, every day counts more than ever. Micah was on here, before you, talking about how we are descending into an authoritarian state. And as a young person, as a student, that is the most terrifying thing that I can possibly think of. I can't even, every issue that we care about as Democrats, whether it's abortion rights or gun violence prevention or climate reform, any of these things, that's not even going to be on our radar if we don't have a democracy, a means of which to actually do that. These efforts are a national community. We have dialers running every day between now and Election Day on Tuesday. So please, this is our call to action for those of you who are saying, oh my God, this administration is unbelievably terrible, just like Joe and I are. Make your voice heard by phone banking and by volunteering. We have so many different ways to do it. Joe, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I would say getting involved, volunteering, it's not one size fits all. And there you can find the things that you're comfortable with and the, the bandwidth that you have to do it. I would also say that if we all do a little, then, no one has to do it all. And the last thing I'll say is that Republicans have counted out these districts. They are scrambling right now. Sorry, Elise Stefanik, not sorry. I'm just going to put that out there. They are scrambling right now because they counted out these districts. They did not think that we could do it. They didn't think that we had a shot. And that's what they have done to the American people. And what they have miscalculated once again is that the will of the American people is strong. And we will not roll over. And we will not allow them. We will not comply. We will not obey in advance. We will not allow them to steamroll our democracy. We are standing up. We are using our voices. We are using our power. And we are checking them. We don't have to wait until the midterms. It starts today. So that's the last thing I'll say. And I'm just so grateful for everybody who's been on this call.
I think that's a great place to end. Again, if you're able to sign up on the QR code, that's great. If it's not working for you for some reason, again, go to floridadems.org to sign up in phone bank. And you've heard it from Jamie Raskin, you've heard it from Senator Whitehouse, you've heard it from the DNC chair. Every single person from Rhode Island to Florida to the entire country is activated in this fight. This is the most important thing you can do. I think we've said it all. Everyone, thank you so much for being here, and let's flip these seats blue, everyone. We can absolutely do it.
We can do it.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Sam.